Guten Morgen and welcome to the Daily Tanya. Today is Thursday, the 17th day of Nisan, the first day of Chol Hamoed Pesach, and last night we counted 2 days for the Omer. Make sure to count every day. This is a mitzvah, and let's begin with tzedakah. Gedola tzedakah, shemikareves es geula. Tzedakah brings Mashiach closer, and we continue this long chapter 41. The Alter Rebbe talks about the proper meditations, to have the kavanah, to serve God with, not only with love alone, but also with fear, with awe of Hashem. And the Alter Rebbe discussed 2 types of meditation. One was the higher one, l'shem yichud kudsha bricha u'shchinte, to unify God with His Shechina, meaning the source. The Shechina is the source of the souls. And when we do a mitzvah, we're having in mind that we need to do it not just on our behalf, because we love Hashem and our neshama wants to cleave to Hashem, but that we're doing it for a higher purpose, the purpose of that this is what Hashem wants, that His Shechina, His divine light should come down into this world. And by doing the mitzvah with this kavanah, we are bringing about a higher light that should shine and should infuse into the Shechina, which is the source of the souls of Israel. That is a higher level of meditation. And Alter Rebbe recognized that this is not something that everybody can really achieve, but nevertheless, he said we should think, we should have this in mind, even though we know we cannot reach the actual feeling that love to Hashem in that level, in such a high level. Then the Alter Rebbe said that there is the other level of meditation, and that is the thinking about what your neshama wants. What does your soul want? Your soul wants to connect to Hashem. It wants to give its life up to Hashem. That's what the neshama of every Jew wants. He wants to be connected, united with Hashem. And that is something that we need to work on, to have this kavanah when we do a mitzvah. That's exactly what we're doing. And we explained in yesterday's lesson that it explains the morning prayer when we say, we say, God, the soul that you gave me is pure. Ata barasa, ata yatzata, ata nefachta bi. You created it, you formed it, you blew it into me. And we go on and we say, Ve'ata osid litla mimeni. You are destined to take it away from me. And we ask the question, why mention death when in every morning prayer, starting a morning, let's start in a good mood. Why get into the depression thinking about death right away? And the answer, the Alter Rebbe explained this prayer in a deeper level, in a deeper sense. And he says that when we're talking about Hashem, we're saying to Hashem, the neshama that you gave into me, we're saying to God, this soul that you gave, we have, is a soul that you gave into me. You blew it into me. It's a soul that is with you and wants to be constantly with you. And ultimately it will be with you. The neshama wants to be with Hashem constantly. And therefore, I say this prayer in the beginning of the day because I want to make sure that the neshama is with Hashem throughout the day. Excuse me. I'm going to give my neshama away to Hashem. I'm going to give my soul up to Hashem. How do I do it? By doing exactly what the soul wants to. The soul wants to be connected to Hashem. How is it being connected? Studying Torah, doing a mitzvah. Every time you do the mitzvah, it's connected. The neshama connects to Hashem. So you can do the mitzvahs all day long without having this thought in your mind. And frankly, that's something that is not easy to have this thought constantly, that all day long I should have that feeling of love to Hashem, and I want to give my neshama up to Hashem. Great tzaddikim are able to experience that throughout the day. But ordinary people, it's not so easy. So that says the Alter Rebbe, that what we need to do is at least in the beginning of the day, and in the beginning of when we do a mitzvah, in the beginning when we start studying Torah, we should contemplate this thought that we're doing this mitzvah in order to give our neshama away to God, to be able to be united with Hashem. So let's see what the Alter Rebbe says inside. והנה באחרונה זו שמסירס נפשי להשם יתחיל ברכס השחר ברוך אתה כולו. With this preparedness to surrender his soul to God through engaging in Torah and prayer in the same spirit in which a man surrenders his soul to God before his demise, one should begin to recite the morning benedictions, blessed are you, and so on. So these benedictions being the beginning of one's prayer. So that's it, Alter Rebbe. In the beginning, this is the preparation to all of our prayers. וכן, בהכנה זו ישחיל ללמוד שיר קבוע מיד אחר התפילה. Similarly, with this preparedness, one should also begin a regular course of study immediately after prayer. That's in general a rule that Alter Rebbe says in Shulchan Aruch. When you finish praying, you should study Torah. You should have a regular set study after the prayer. So that is how you begin your studying of the Torah, also with that preparation that you said, that when you said the morning prayer and you were ready to give your soul up to Hashem through this prayer and through this mitzvah. And what happens throughout the day? Says the Alter Rebbe, "V'chein be'emtza hayom kodem sheyatchil lilmod tzricha achana zu lefachos." So also in the course of the day, before one begins to study, such preparation at least is necessary. Saying at least this preparation to have this thought. Obviously there's many different levels of preparations and meditations, but at least that meditation you should have. Kanoida, and Alter Rebbe says, it brings support and proof from the laws of divorce that what is necessary, what is important, the proper intent, the proper meditation is important to have it at the beginning of when you do something. The beginning when you do something, and he brings the example. As is known that in the case of Beinanim, meaning people are not righteous, holy people can have this meditation throughout the day, in that state of mind constantly. But in the case of Beinanim, the average person, the intermediate person, the essential preparation and intent for its own sake, where it is indispensable, is before the beginning of study. This is the same as in the case of writing a bill of divorce or a scroll of a Torah, where their own sake, has to be written for their own sake. This is an indispensable requirement, and should this intention be lacking, they are invalid. You have to have, when you write a Sefer Torah, you can't just write a Torah without the proper intent. If you write a Torah and you didn't have in mind that the Torah is written for the sake of Hashem, the Torah is not valid. And the same thing is with the bill of divorce. The Torah says that the actual get the bill of divorce has to be written with in mind, having in mind that this is written for this man and for that woman. However, when you write the Torah or when you write the divorce, you don't have to constantly meditate on this concept. It is okay if in the beginning you say that you're writing this for the sake of the holiness of the Torah, or for the sake of this person, this man and this woman. And it is sufficient if at the commencement of writing a Torah scroll, the scribe says, I am now about to write for the sacred purpose of the scroll of the Torah. Or in the case of a bill of divorce, that has to say, I'm writing this for him and for her, and so on. So similarly, the Alter Rebbe says, it is sufficient for a Beinoni to have the intention of, for its own sake, meaning doing the Torah, doing the mitzvahs, and today, at the beginning of a study, when I begin to study, and I have this in mind, I'm doing it for Hashem. Now says the Alter Rebbe, what happens when you learn many hours? If you're sitting and learning for a few hours together, and says the Alter Rebbe, there is something about Kabbalistically, it says that every hour has a different energy coming to the world. Every hour changes. And because of that, he says, every hour it is necessary to think again this meditation. If you study more than for an hour straight, so in the beginning of every hour you should think it again and again. But why? Because it says there's the godly energy that comes down to sustain the world, to revive the world, and that energy comes and it's in a way of ratzov v'shuv. It comes and goes. There's energy coming. It's just like the blood in the body of a person. It comes through the heart, it goes through the body, it goes through all of the organs, and comes back and again and again. So there's the going and the retraction and receiving. And this is the same thing with the energy that comes from Hashem. And therefore, every hour it is necessary to have this meditation again. And when he studies for a number of consecutive hours, he should reflect on the preparedness reference to above, at least at hourly intervals. Why? כי בכל שעה ושעה ימשוך החרס מהאילומס העליונים לאחריס התחתונים, והמשוך החייס שלפניה חוזרס למקיימו בסוד רוצה ושוב שבסוד היצירה. So for each hour, in each hour, there is a different flow from the higher worlds to animate those who dwell here below, while the flow of vitality from on high of the previous hour returns to its source. That's how Hashem systems work. It comes and it goes back to its source. And that is in accordance with the esoteric principle of advancing and retreating, expounded in Sefer Yetzirah. And this goes as the divine life force animates the world, alternately advancing and retreating. It is first drawn down into this world, and then it returns to its source in the higher spiritual world. Each hour, then, the creative life force of the previous hour returns to its source, and it returns with all of the Torah and the good deeds that you did. Together with all the Torah and good deeds of those who dwell here below. So therefore, when I studied Torah and I had the proper meditation, which, as we explained, the proper meditation, the proper intent, elevates and allows this to go up high. So when it comes the next hour, we need to do it again because there is a new energy coming down. And the Alter Rebbe explains, Kabbalistically speaking, that each hour of the day there is different combination of the name of God that brings the energy to the world. And this is we learned this in Tanya Shar Yichud Ve'emunah, talks about the combination of letters. There is the letters and there is the words, and when you have the Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey, they have 12 different combinations, meaning there are 4 letters, and you change it the order of which letter comes first, and that has 12 different combinations. And you have these combinations 12 for the day, 12 hours of the day, and you have 12 for the 12 hours of the night for the name Adonai. Aleph Daled Nun Yud. The name Yud Kei Vav Kei belongs to Chesed, the kindness. Adonai is more Gevura, judgment, restriction. That is why the kindness represents the day, the restriction represents at night. And each hour has a different combination and different energy comes. כבכל שעה שואל צירוף אחד מיוד בי צירוף השם הוואי ברוך הוא, ויוד בי שויס היום, וצירוף השם אדוני בלילה כנודע. For in each of these 12 hours of the day, there rules one of the 12 combinations of the letter that form the 4 letters name of God, the Tetragrammaton, while the combination of the letters that comprise the divine name Adonai rules at night as is known. There's an interesting story I think I once mentioned when the Alter Rebbe was imprisoned for 53 days and he was in a very dark room. There was no access to the outside light, and at one point the interrogator wanted to confuse the Alter Rebbe, and he asked him, how come he's not sleeping? It's late at night. So he told him exactly the time that it was. And he asked him, how do you know? And the Alter Rebbe explained him that what we just learned, that every hour has a different combination, has a different energy coming down from Hashem. And obviously the Alter Rebbe was able to sense this type of energy, and he was able to tell the exact time. So this is the end of today's shir. Met Hashem will continue tomorrow. And again, important meditation, understanding that what to do, what our neshama wants. We do a mitzvah, we do it for Hashem, and at least we should think it in the beginning of the day, the beginning of the mitzvah, and Hashem does the rest. All the best. Guten Moed.